Hello and welcome to the Self-Love Summit. I'm Mia Saenz, your host, and with me this segment is Connie Costa. Welcome, Connie.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, Mia.
I'm grateful that you're here. So Connie is another self-love person. She has a very, very beautiful heart, one of the sweetest people that I've ever come in contact with. She just always, it's about others. So I'm very grateful that you're here joining us.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That's very sweet. I think the same of you.
Oh, thank you. That's an honor. Thank you. You have a big story. Well, we all have a big story, but you have a story that I'll let you tell it. Share your journey and what brought you to the path of helping others in self-love and just in a counseling, soulful, spiritual level.
Yeah. Well, I started off as a psychotherapist, actually. Psychotherapy for children, specifically, working with abused children. And after that, I went into foster care social work as well. So again, working with abused children. And even though I loved working with the kids, I always felt that there was something missing, that it wasn't quite right. And I gotta admit, at times I would feel guilty, like, wait, what's this about? This is what I, went to school for, and what is this feeling that this is not right? And it wasn't until I read a book called Why Your Life Sucks by Alan Cohen that it all made sense to me. I was like, this is it. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be teaching these tools to the world. And around the same time, I was working at my university. I went to Antioch University. And I was working alongside two beautiful healers. And I would go into their offices, and they would have candles, and they would have crystals and angel cards. And I started hanging out with them and hanging out at their house, and we would talk about spiritual topics. So anything from manifestation, abundance, self-love, all these beautiful topics. And I always say I wasn't learning, I was remembering. It never felt like, wow, I haven't heard this before. This is new information. Like at school you're learning. It always felt like, yeah, I know that. Like it was in me, in some part of me already. Of course it was, now I know. And so the combination of having these two beautiful healers, sort of guide me on the spiritual path, and then the book, this amazing life-changing book for me, that I decided this is what I want to do. I want to become a life coach, just like Alan Cohen. I want to be a speaker. I want to be a motivational speaker. And specifically, I want to talk about self-love and love in general. Because that's a topic that I am very passionate about. And so that's how I got started, and that was, years ago, and it's every year it gets more incredible, every year it gets more amazing, and it feels right. It feels so right. It's amazing. I love it. It's very exciting.
Wonderful. There was also a part of your story that I'm just going to jump right in here and state it, that though I think is very interesting, that maybe the viewers might think, and it also relates to something else you do. You were born in Sicily, or you were raised in Sicily, and then you came here when you were a teenager, about 13 I think it was, and you didn't speak English very well, and you went to school here, and things were hard, and so you understand that huge transformational shift that that strikes in people. That we have to shift for many reasons. Sometimes your story, coming here, I remember you telling me a long time ago, it was very, very difficult. So I'd like you to just briefly, if it's okay, talk about I already did, but about you being from Italy, and then talk about your trips that you do there, your spiritual journey trips.
Yes. Well, I feel very blessed to have been raised in both Italy. That'd be interesting, born in Italy and born here. I don't know how I would do that, but having been raised both in the United States and in Italy, because it's, two completely different cultures and two beautiful cultures. And I feel like I get the best of both worlds. And my mother's from Peru, so I get the Latino culture as well there. So it's just wonderful. Being raised in Sicily, incredible. I mean, I have that passion for life. They love, and when they love, and so they are my role models. Always have been. I can remember when I was a kid, I would see my cousins getting married to literally their childhood sweethearts. Not even like high school sweethearts, childhood sweethearts. And like their whole life was, revolved around first the wedding and then, having kids, and they were so happy. And now I go back and, now they've been married, 30, some of them 40 years and more, and they're still as passionate and happy and excited, and they love each other. And food is a big thing in Sicily. It's a huge thing in Italy in general. And I'm very big on eating healthy. So and I talk about that a lot during my motivational speeches or during with my clients. Healthy eating is very important to me, and I know that I get that from my Sicilian side. And it's, eating is everything, eating organic. And so there's a part of me that loves that culture and would love to bring the best of it here. But also what I do is I bring people there so they can experience it themselves.
Yes.
Which is incredible. And so the reason why I started doing these transformational journeys to Sicily, many reasons. One of them was because when you think of Italy, most people think of Florence, Venice, and Rome. And most people don't venture out, they don't go to many other places in Italy. And Sicily, there aren't too many American tourists, and I feel like they're really, really missing out. Again, the passion, the love, the culture, the food. And so I decided to start these transformational journeys where I take people to Sicily and just, you name it, food and wine tours, cooking classes with, royalty. But the part that I love the most about my transformational journeys is that my family literally kidnaps my tours. They kidnap my friends, and they kidnap them, and they take them to places where only the locals know about. And sometimes they'll, surprise us and take us to their summer villa and make homemade pasta.
Wow.
Or, they'll take us on their boat, whatever. The bottom line is they are all about love, and they get very excited. And so they want everybody to love the island as much as they do. They really do. And so they want you to feel that you're part of the family. And that's why I feel that this is so different from everything else, because it's not just a tour, like, you're on a bus and it's like, look at this and to the right is that. It's not about that. It's about really feeling like you're a part of that family, a part of the love, that you're loved, because they love you. The minute you walk in, they love you. And it's sincere. It really is. They love you, they hug you, they kiss you. Some people are like, what is going on? But they love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that in itself, I've had people cry just from that, because I've literally had people tell me I've never felt so much love in my life. Ever.
That's beautiful.
It is. It really is beautiful.
That's amazing. Yeah. You also do local retreats once a month at least?
Yes, to Ojai.
Yeah. I went on one, and that's how I met you. And I knew about you before. We had known each other before through friends or whatever. And yeah, that was a really, really, really magnificent healing experience for me. So yeah. Since I said that, I know that a lot of it is top secret, but do you? Well, I'd keep it top. I wouldn't keep it top secret as in sharing it, but I know the details. We don't want to share all the details because it would spoil the fun. But let's talk about that just a little bit, because I want people to understand where you're coming from and how amazing the words that you speak about self-love are, because of how you practice your life. Would you like to talk a little bit about your Ojai transformational day programs?
Yes. When I first went to Ojai, I fell in love, and for me, it's very important to connect with nature. That's the way that, I rejuvenate and it's like fuel for me. Is being in nature, I feel very connected to source in nature. And so when I went to Ojai for the first time, it didn't feel like anywhere near LA. I mean, it just felt like a complete world apart. And I love LA, but it was like a cute little country town. And the more I went, the more I fell in love, and the more I discovered the different spiritual spots that there are in Ojai. And the more I discovered that very famous spiritual gurus live there, such as Krishnamurti. And Mary Baba passed by there and, actually blessed a spot up in Ojai. I know you went there, so the gorgeous tree that many people have meditated under. And so a lot of, amazing people have passed by this special town, and it's for a reason. There are energy vortexes. It's a very, very, very different energy. You feel it, especially if you're sensitive to energies.
I know. My arm rattled. My left arm just shook, and I just stood there on this one area that people were like, really, there's a vortex there? And I'm like, oh yeah, there's a vortex there. And I wouldn't leave. You guys were all going back to the cars, and I'm like, I'm not ready yet.
Yeah, exactly. And you're not the first, and I'm sure you're not going to be the last person who just goes and absolutely feels it more than everybody else. But even if you're not sensitive, you will feel the difference. Just driving up, you will feel the difference. And so, again, for that reason alone, I wanted to start leading retreats there, just because I feel that it is important to take people out of their environment. Just, it's fresh, it's new, and, why not in a gorgeous setting that is very spiritual and energetically just on a different level. And so what we do is it's just for the day. I am going to eventually do it in a weekend format. So probably Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But for now, it's just for the day. And so you're in and out. Most people don't know that Ojai is very close to LA. It's only like an hour and a half away. And in the morning, we have a light breakfast, and then we go into a beautiful workshop. Dr. Sarah Larson is usually my guest, whom I adore, who you know, Dr. Sarah Larson.
Amazing. And she's one of the experts on here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. Dr. Sarah Larson, who's, an earth angel, she's usually my guest, and we do workshops on life's purpose, on, self-love, all these beautiful topics. And then we eat a very delicious, healthy, light lunch, and then we go to the different spiritual spots. So we'll visit, Krishnamurti's home. We'll go to Mary Baba, the famous tree that Mary Baba meditated under. We'll go to Meditation Mount, which is this gorgeous, gorgeous mountain in Ojai that just has the most amazing view. So we just go to all these beautiful places so that you can be at one with nature and connect and feel that energy. And again, just you're relaxing, it's like fuel, and it's every single time people have left there crying or just excited. They feel the difference. They really do feel the difference. And I always tell people, if you haven't been to Ojai with me, you have not been to Ojai. People don't know these little spots. It's like it's hidden. I can't tell you how many times I've spoken to locals who they have never been to these places either. The last one that I did, it was funny. There was a girl that was born and raised in Ojai, and I think I went to 4 spots. 3 out of the 4 spots she had never been to.
Wow.
She's from Ojai.
Yeah.
So I know Ojai.
Yeah, you know Ojai. That's amazing. Yeah, it is very, very amazing. I had an amazing healing that day. It was just beautiful.
People love you, by the way.
Pardon?
People love you.
Oh,
by the way. I keep getting, compliments on some stuff that you did in Ojai as well.
Oh, thank you. That's I think that's where I became unafraid to shift into who I am. Seriously.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
We'll still talk about you.
Yeah. Thank you. It was deeper for me than I even really realized. So, thank you. Thank you. It was beautiful. So, and now let's talk about your work, because being a heart-based, loving person such as yourself, also with your background and your education, you have clients that you meet with, and you work on many different aspects: self-love, regenerating your spirit and your soul, and renewing yourself, the sacred spiritual practice that you do. In your private practice, is it just you, or do you work with a group of people too?
It's usually just me. Every single client is different, so it really, really, really depends. I was just having this conversation today because I had another interview, and there's just not one way. I mean, everybody's different. So I usually sit with a client, and it's not about my agenda. It's what do they want? What is, I always say, if I were a genie and I could grant you any wish, that's what I say. What would you want?
Right.
And so depending on what it is that they're looking for, I might refer them. I do refer a lot to other professionals in the business that I love, that I go to. Mm-hmm. And so, for example, if somebody, really wants to lose weight, then I'll send them to an expert as well. So we work that way. Mm-hmm. We collaborate in that way. Right. But yeah, I mean, I work with people and whatever the goals are that they want, and I feel that I am their biggest fan. I'm there to keep them accountable and help them get to exactly what they want to get to. My mentor always says, psychotherapy is about what's wrong with you, and coaching is about what's right with you. Mm-hmm. And I know that's very controversial. I used to be a psychotherapist, so I'm allowed to say it.
Right, exactly. And I felt that. I felt that really most people can only be helped if they're working with a spiritual psychotherapist. So. Oh
yeah, and I love spiritual psychotherapists because again, it's about the whole person and seeing the beauty of that person instead of let's talk about what's wrong with you. If you're talking all day about what's wrong with you, you're going to end up when you leave. How are you going to feel? You're going to feel pretty miserable because you've been talking about what's wrong with you.
Right, exactly.
Instead of talking about what's right with you and getting excited about the possibilities. And not just about mommy and daddy issues, that happened, 30, 40, 50 years ago. Right. So, again, it's about, what is it that you want to do now? What do you want to do with your life? It's like, the possibilities are truly endless and you can do anything. And I get excited when I see people's eyes like, really? I can? Yes, you absolutely can. Absolutely.
What do you want to create today?
What do you want to create today? And just to see their faces light up. Oh, I mean, I love what I do. I love what I do so much. And then to see the transition. And then to see them years later, they're like, oh my God, dude, this is, my heart starts, right now my heart is beating really fast because all these people are coming to mind, all these beautiful clients that I've had. And it's exciting. It's exciting.
It is. It's exciting to help people too, from a sense of what can I do for you instead of what am I going to get out of this. Coming so happy to work with people is, I think your energy shifts open to a different realm, and they can feel that. And there's a lot of trust and safety. There are more people out there who are really in touch with what their client wants rather than what they want, which, as we were talking before, you had said is more like custom designing your interaction with your clients and what they need rather than just what you learned in school.
Exactly. And it's interesting. The same way I went into this beautiful journey is how I was telling you that I was remembering, I wasn't learning.
Yes.
I feel like I want to be that for my clients as well. I don't want to be there just teaching and just lecturing or whatnot. I want them to just remember.
Right. And
they do. They really do.
And I do want to talk about remembering because it's a very big thing. Remembering is our soul always knows. It's just getting past the garbage that we created in what we call a paradigm, which is our early childhood. Here I am telling the therapist, the psychotherapist here, okay, maybe you should be explaining it. Our soul does always remember, and that's the beautiful thing, is when we remember, it feels differently than as we're learning, like you said. Talk about renewing and regenerating with your clients, please.
Well, I am a big believer in having a daily spiritual practice that's sacred.
Yes.
And what I do, for example, is I love baths. I love to be in water, ocean, lake, pool. Get me in water, and I'm the happiest girl in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So I love to I do not touch my phone. I do not touch my computer. I wake up and I go straight into taking this beautiful long bath, sometimes with my crystals. Mm-hmm. And while I'm taking a bath, I am reading inspirational readings. So anything from my mentor Alan Cohen, Marianne Williamson, Rumi, the beautiful poetry of Rumi or Hafiz. Mm-hmm. Things that are going to uplift me. Right now I'm reading a book on the Dalai Lama and compassion. Mm-hmm. So I'm, taking a bath, reading, and this goes on for about an hour, hour and a half. Sometimes 2 hours. It depends what I have going for the day.
Right.
But, and then I have a very delicious, healthy breakfast. Mm-hmm. And then I start my day. That's when I'll look at the phone or the computer, but before that I don't. Mm-hmm. But my whole day is completely different coming from that state. Mm-hmm. Right. And it makes a huge difference because I remember the words that I've just read, mm-hmm. and I feel like the universe sometimes tests me with the, did you read, it's like a test. Did you read and do you remember what you read? And so throughout the day, whatever I've read, if I'm reading on compassion, I will come across a situation that's challenging. Mm-hmm. And, but I feel like I'm armed with all these beautiful, words in my head, and it really does help me to come from a very different state as opposed to me just waking up, immediately grabbing my phone, or immediately checking on the computer, or, eating in a rush. Whatever it is, it's coming from that state, very different than being in a beautiful, relaxed state and reading beautiful, beautiful words. I pray in the morning after my reading, and again, that just sets the intention for the day. Mm-hmm. And before I go to sleep, what I love to do is I also pray. I love to get in touch with Source and just tell Source, why I'm so grateful and, all the beautiful things that have happened throughout the day and that I'm grateful for in my life. And that's how I fall asleep. So that's how I fall asleep, and that's how I wake up, and that's really nice. And that's how I, regenerate and renew myself. I also, like we were saying earlier, I also go into nature. Going into nature is very important to me. Mm-hmm. So going to the ocean is very important to me. Going to Ojai and, being amongst trees, grass, whatever it is, this is very important for me. That's why Sicily is so crucial for me. Ojai, I just came back from Hawaii, Maui, Hawaii, and right. That's really, really important for me to be in those settings and just relax and let everything go. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
That's wonderful. Those are very special. That's very much self-love, taking care of the little aspects. I mean, they're big aspects, but taking care of what regenerates and renews.
Yes.
You.
And it's different for everybody because you asked for my clients specifically. We all have different tastes. So that's right. My spiritual practice. That's what works for me. Mm-hmm. So with my clients, that's where it's important to really get to know your client and, talk about these things. What is it that makes you happy? What is it that you love to do? What is it that you could do in the morning first thing that would get you in a completely different state and, start your day from that? Right. And, it's all different. Some people really need to do yoga or to, exercise. That gets them in a completely different state, Mm-hmm. And all I ask is that you honor that. Because I know that when I, don't have the time, either because I'm traveling or whatever, and I don't do that, my day is very different. Mm-hmm. My day is very, very different. So that's why it is very sacred for me, and I love to practice it on a daily basis. That's
good. That's wonderful. Thank you. Would you talk a little bit more about ideas of self-love with your clients, with yourself, with the world?
So, for me, self-love is absolutely crucial, and it's the bottom line for everything. And that sounds very cheesy and very cliche, but it really is the truth. Louise Hay really inspired me. I read you can heal your life. And that was extraordinary, and it was so beautiful, and it really touched me. And she says, that's what she says. She says, the more you love yourself, the better your life works. And it's really true. And so I, in my retreats or with my clients, I have them do this really interesting exercise, you might remember, which is basically write 10 things that you absolutely love about yourself in less than a minute. And you can't write, things like, I rock, I'm cool, And that's,
I would write that. I'm kidding.
Well, this could be the bonus, right? Like, 11 and 12. But for the 10,
that's right.
I want something a little bit more substantial. I want something a little bit, deeper than that.
Yeah.
And, it shocks most people because most people do not get to 10. And so I always say, if I would have told you, write 10 things that you love about your dog or about your child or about your spouse, you probably would have written 100.
Right. In that amount of time. Yeah.
That amount of time, in less than a minute. But 10 things that you love about yourself, it's very hard for people. We're so used to criticizing ourselves, and that critical voice is not even ours, and whether it comes from parents or, school or, teachers, whatever it is, we've learned to criticize ourselves. How many times, do I hear parents say, you're a bad girl, you're a bad boy, or you're being a, bad boy or bad girl, or, you're lazy, or whatever it is. And that, it's like that stays with us. And so that's what comes to mind constantly, and we don't even realize it. And throughout the day, how many times do we criticize ourselves? Well, that was really stupid of me. I can't believe I just did that dumb thing. Or whatever it is. Throughout the day, we're, and so, and we're not thinking, wow, I'm such a compassionate person. I'm so loving. I'm so this. We're not thinking those thoughts. It's usually negative thoughts. And so, my invitation to people is to really work on that. And I always say, it's not that you either love yourself or you don't love yourself. The way I see it, the way I visualize it in my head is I see a spectrum. And on one end, it's I adore myself. And on the other is I despise myself. And I don't know too many people are either one or the other. But there's everywhere in between, right? But the question to ask yourself is, are you closer to I adore myself or I despise myself? And that's what, people need to look at.
Right.
And so I remember speaking in front of I was a keynote speaker of a town, of a city near here. And I remember that there were firefighters and, police officers, and there were a bunch of teenagers and teachers. It was obviously a city, so it's a lot of people. And I was really concerned for the teenagers, because I'm like, they're going to be bored, they're going to think, what is this, motivational speaking, blah, blah, blah. And one of the things that I was saying was, and I was looking straight at the cops and at the firefighters. I was saying, we're like fighting crime, and we're fighting drugs, and we're fighting this, and even did that. We're like, okay. But the truth is, the more we love ourselves, and the more we teach our kids to love themselves, they're not going to do the drugs, because they're going to be like, I love myself way too much to put that crap into my body. They're not going to go, eat fast food every day, because they're going to be like, no, I love my body and I want to treat it right. I want to eat organic food. I want to be healthy, because I love myself. They're not going to have, abusive relationships, because they're going to be like, I know I deserve better. As a matter of fact, they're not even going to attract people that are going to abuse them, because they're not even on the same vibration.
Right, exactly.
They're not going to go into gangs. They're not going to, hang out with the wrong crowd, because they love themselves. And so I'm telling the cops and the firefighters this, and the teachers and everybody, and I'm saying, this is what we've got to do. We really have to instill love. Love. More love towards themselves and love towards others. When it finished, I was so surprised, because most of the people that came up to me were the teenagers. I could not believe it. They were mostly the teenagers. And they're like, I want to be motivational speaker. And it was beautiful. They got it. And I don't know if the cops, the firefighters got it. Who knows? They didn't come up to me, so maybe not.
Right.
But the teens got it, and they got how important that was, and how important that is. And so when I work with my clients or whenever I do any talks, I really want to get that across. Self-love is so, so crucial. And the way to know whether you love yourself or not, ask yourself questions such as, what kind of relationship am I in?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of job do I have? What do I feed myself every single day?
Mm-hmm.
Do I exercise or do I sit on the couch?
Mm-hmm.
Night after night watching television.
Right. Little ritual, and it seems to be changing a bit, but there are certain things that make me feel better. You're right. It's all about finding what makes you feel better about taking care of yourself, taking care of you.
Yes, and not criticizing other people because they don't do it the way you do it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Why would we?
No, but some
there are that do, yes.
Well, you meditate for only half an hour. I meditate for 2 hours. Like, you do that. It's we're all different, and we all have to respect that.
That's so funny.
Alan Cohen, my mentor, he says this beautiful story about how his mother, this very Jewish mother, would be smoking a cigarette and, drinking coffee and staring outside the window. And it wasn't and he would always be like, basically you shouldn't be smoking and you shouldn't be drinking the coffee and, concerned son. We all do it, right? We're concerned for our parents. And, here he is meditating, and I'm sure he wishes that his mother was meditating. But it wasn't until years later that he realized that was her meditation.
Yes, exactly.
That was her way of connecting with God, was just that cigarette, that, coffee, and staring out the window, and just, that's how she
having her silence, yes.
Yes, that was hers. And so, again, it's about no judgment. Right. We're all trying to get to the same place. We just have different journeys. We're all trying to get to the top of the mountain. We all have different, routes to get there.
And that's what makes life so beautiful.
Exactly.
It's those different routes in which we get there. Yeah.
Yeah, they're all so unique.
Yeah, because if we were all the same, it would be rather boring, I think.
And a crowded route.
And a very crowded route, I know. Move over. No, you move over. It wouldn't really be as loving. That's funny. I like that. That's very funny. Yeah. Would you like to share with us you have a free gift for everybody. Would you like to share that?
Yes.
Okay.
Free consultation with me. Again, everything is so custom designed. Everything is so unique to every individual. Would love to meet with people who want to meet with me. And free consultation. So, we can discuss if they want to, work with me. If they don't, it's either or is beautiful. But I love to just, get together with people and, talk about big ideas and get them on the journey that they've always wanted to go on.
That's wonderful. Yeah. Wonderful. So,
so they can go on my website. And,
Right, yeah. Well, I was thinking about saying that it's going to be in the credits. It's going to be in the credits, as you all know. By the time you see this one, because they're already placed out in order, you already know how to find it. It's in your email.
Hey.
Woohoo! So, yes, thank you.
With my daughter, and by no means am I sitting here saying that I am a perfect parent, because I am not. Mm-hmm. And I will never pretend that I'm a perfect parent. But
none of us are.
None of us are, because, again, we have all our stuff. Mm-hmm. And but I do know that I have been showering her ever since she was a baby with compliments. Mm-hmm. And everything that she does that is even the smallest thing, I make sure to point it out so that she knows how special she is. Mm-hmm. Because I want her to grow up, loving herself and realizing the beautiful qualities that she has, as opposed to, the qualities that I believe,
right.
she, again, going to the shoulds and the coulds. Mm-hmm. So I shower her with love and affection, which my own mother, who I adore, has always done with me. I mean, all unconditional love. My mother is all about unconditional love. And I think that's the key term right there. Unconditional love. You don't just love somebody, on my terms, though. And if you do something that I don't like, then I don't love you. Right. And kids get that message a lot. Right. Mommy loves me, but I did something wrong. Mommy doesn't love me anymore, or Daddy doesn't love me anymore. Mm-hmm. And I made sure with my daughter that I would tell her if I would get upset, no, I love you so much. Just right now, Mommy needs a little time out.
Yeah.
I'm not so happy. But I love you so much. And so my daughter, again, just like you said about your son, she's different. Like, she will go to her friends and be like, I love you so much. Like, she can't hang up the phone without going, I love you more, I love you so much, I love you so much. And I'm like, gosh, I've always considered myself to be very affectionate and loving because, again, I grew up in Sicily.
Yeah.
But I don't remember all that. Like, she's so loving, and she's always affectionate and kissing, and, it's beautiful to see. And I hope I had something to do with that. You can only hope that you did something right? So that is what it's all about. Unconditional love.
Absolutely. And I've most certainly have allowed my boys to do their own journey that most parents would be like, what? Or they'd be like, you're cool, you rock. I hear that a lot too.
I would say, you're cool, you rock.
And it's like, it's not that I want to be cool or rock, it's that I love my kids too much to allow them not to express their own spirit. And if we listen to ourselves with intuition, we know how to take care of our kids. Connie, we are out of time, and that's amazing how fast this goes. Can you share with us one more juicy, yummy bit of whatever you want to share with us before we sign off?
I just spent some time with Ram Dass. So this in Maui, and I love Ram Dass, and so I put this in my latest newsletter. The messages were so simple but so profound, which is basically love everyone and tell the truth, and always live in the present moment. There's no past, there's no future, present moment. And again, also with the Dalai Lama about being compassionate. Same thing, just, along the lines of love everyone. Love, love, love. Give, and love yourself.
Yes.
Let go of the anger, the resentment, the judgment. Just love. Love others, and that is how you achieve self-love. When you stop judging others and judging yourself, when you stop criticizing others and you're criticizing yourself. Because I don't think, and I just wrote an article about this, I don't think a lot of people realize that when they're very critical of others, they're more critical towards themselves.
Sure. I mean, that makes sense.
It goes in hand. So if you catch yourself, and it's no judgment. There's no judgment here. It's just, to notice this.
Right, to be observing.
To be observing, when you're at work, are you gossiping? Are you, what are you criticizing? Are you, even in your head?
Right.
Notice that, because most likely whatever you're doing to others, you're doing to yourself. Hurt people. And so if you can switch that, observe that, first just notice it.
Right.
And switch it with love. All the love you give out will come back. And you're not doing it so you can get it back. You're just doing it because you just want that flow to be constant. Loving, giving, receiving. It's beautiful. And I've worked on that, and I'm sure I'm going to work on that for the rest of my life, so I don't want anybody to think that I've achieved, and now I'm just this loving soul 100% time, and No, I mean, it's, sometimes it could be challenging. But again, to have a spiritual practice, a sacred spiritual practice that reminds you to be in that space of love and to give, because that's what we're here to do. We're here to give love. That's our purpose here in life. To know that and do it, it's a beautiful thing, and we'll be very, 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 very happy.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Connie, for joining us.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It was my pleasure. I loved it.
Me too.
You're great. You're awesome. I love you.
So are you. I love you too. And thank you all for joining us for this segment, and we'll see you all on the next. Thank you. Bye.